So the whole boat will crash, and so will the game. Well, this is more than the good old Switch can handle. Ship Graveyard Simulator 2 is now available for Nintendo Switch, and in this video we check out how the game is experienced on the handheld console and whether the game is worth buying. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and give the video a thumbs up. Let's go! So the purpose of the game is to go from this to this. But you also need to earn money and upgrade your tools. At the beginning you have access to the smallest boats. You then have to dismantle them and sell everything you found. For example, different metals, liquids and other surrounding items. You can then visit a merchant and start selling. When you have collected enough money, you can upgrade your tools, and upgrading is extremely necessary in this game. If you buy a bigger and more challenging boat, you will notice that your tools are barely able to do the job, unless you upgraded them. So before buying a new boat, it can be a big advantage to have good enough stuff that makes dismantling easier. The tools you use are mainly a hammer, a saw and a torch, but you will also spend a lot of time using your hands and picking up all the debris that is scattered everywhere. Unfortunately, you cannot carry as much as you want, so money must also be spent on upgrading your space or inventory. But it's possible to load anything you find onto your truck, and believe me, this might be one of the most unrealistic things I have ever seen in a simulator. It's actually possible to throw the debris onto the truck regardless of range, as long as there is a green arrow. Just look at this. I have parked the truck far away. Well, no problem, I'm going to make a perfect throw. The game doesn't really offer much variety, most of it is about dismantling different ships. But there are some small things that broaden the experience a bit. For example, you can visit the junkyard and sort through all the debris. It's like a minigame in itself. You also have access to a computer where you buy new ships. Every time you buy, you also unlock 3 new missions that are linked to the current ship. The missions mostly involve collecting the right items and then receive your reward, which is money. The missions are definitely worth completing because you get paid well and can thus buy new upgrades more easily. I have to be honest that the gameplay becomes relatively monotonous in the long run. I don't really mind dismantling the ships, this can take many hours, but it's just that that's pretty much all you do, so the lack of variety becomes quite noticeable. When it comes to the controls, I think they work great and feel very standard for 3-dimensional simulators. You can run, jump, use the tools and also use your truck. I don't have any major comments on this, but there are some configurations in the menu that are worth mentioning. You can set the camera sensitivity and change the Y-axis. There are also some gameplay options such as choosing a language, whether you want to use rumble and so on. There is also a detailed map of the controls, in case you missed any function. Something that I found problematic, however, is the performance. Overall, it ran relatively well, but when I bought one of the largest ships, massive problems arose, probably more than the Switch could handle. The game crashed over and over again due to all the hundreds of animations that were going on at the same time. This meant that I basically could not continue and had to sell the ship and start over. Pretty bad actually, but this happened if I removed all the walls on the ground floor. Then all of the upper floors fell down at the same time, which led to a huge collapse and the game gave up. So my point is that it is possible to trigger a crash if you play in a particular way. So the question is whether this game is worth buying. Overall, this is a relatively long game that requires a lot of hours. If you're going to dismantle all the ships, complete all the missions, upgrade all the tools to the max, and experience the entire game from start to finish, then you will probably need several days before you are finished. It is my experience that it is a relatively time-consuming job to dismantle an entire ship, especially the largest ships, but it still feels quite rewarding to get paid for hard work and then be able to upgrade your tools. And this is where I think a lot of the appeal lies, collecting debris, selling it, and over time seeing the effectiveness of the tools. Quite fun actually. But as I just mentioned, there are problems with the performance, which spoils the impression somewhat. But overall, a relatively entertaining and grindy simulator that will require a lot of time to get through. The price in the eShop is $30, which is far too expensive. I would have definitely waited for a discount before buying. With that said, feel free to subscribe to my channel and give the video a thumbs up. Have a great day. See ya!